But mothers will no longer be losing their children because of weak liberal policies and politicians that have given up on securing a crime-free America. We want a crime-free America. We're going to stop violent crime in the United States. And it's people like this that can do the job better than anybody. They do the job justly and fairly. But there's nobody like these people. Thank you. There's nobody like them, so they can do it. They have to be given back their rights and their dignity. They have to be allowed to do their job. We're going to be guaranteeing immunities and and I'm not looking necessarily just here, but we have police in various areas that are pretty rough areas. If they do their job, if they're diligent in doing their job, they go after the police officer rather than the criminal. They lose their house, they lose their pension, they lose their family, they lose everything. They lose everything. And we're going to make sure that doesn't happen. Over the past 4 years, the Marxist left has waged a vicious war on law enforcement in our country. They've taken away the dignity and the spirit and the life of some of these police officers, and that's why you see it. The crime is so out of control in our country. I mean, you have cities, I will say this, the top 25, almost all are run by Democrats, and they have very similar policies. It's just insane. But you can't walk across the street to get a loaf of bread. You get shot, you get mugged, you get raped, you get whatever it may be. And you've seen it, and I've seen it. And it's time for a change. We have to bring back our cities. We have these cities that are great cities where people are afraid to live in them now. They're fleeing the cities of our country, what we would consider, what we did consider. You know, interestingly, like New York, when I left for Washington, New York we had a very bad mayor, de Blasio, but he wasn't there that long, and he couldn't ruin what took place. But we had a city that was so wonderful and so thriving. And just in a few short years, that changed. New York State is doing terribly. I heard the governor last night speaking so viciously and violently about me, but she doesn't speak about what they've done to destroy the state. The law enforcement has been decimated. The judges, what's gone on with the judges in New York? There's no justice. We're not getting justice in New York. And yet she speaks so bravely about things that she shouldn't be speaking about. But you look at radical liberal Kamala Harris. She's been the ringleader for this anti-crime and the anti-police crusade. It's a real anti-police crusade. They just have it out for the police. Nobody knows why. I don't understand why from a common sense. I like to say the Republican Party is now the party of common sense. Conservative? Yeah, I guess conservative. It doesn't matter. It's the party of common sense. We want to have borders. We want to have strong police protection. We want a military that can protect us. We want great schools, school choice, ideally. We want to have a good life. We want to be safe. But let's review Kamala's pro-crime, anti-police record. She repeatedly endorsed defunding the police, which I said, and it's at a level that, and it never goes away. You know, when you're a defunder or when you are even a politician, your first thought usually is the thought that you go with. If she ever had a chance, she would do whatever she could to defund the police, because that's where her spirit is, that's where her heart is. And we can't have a president like that. She sponsored a bill to strip police officers of legal protection, leaving you at the mercy of the lawless Marxist prosecutors who want to lock up police officers for sport. They lock them up, in many cases, long before they lock up the criminal. And they go after them, too, violently. They don't go after the criminals. Murderers are released 2 hours after the murder. She wants to bankrupt the police unions. She wants to destroy policemen in general. and they ruin your lives, your jobs, and they ruin everything you've lived for, everything you've felt that you want to make great. You want to make our country great. When I'm President of the United States, again, we will never even think about or mention the words defund the police. We'll never think about that again. It's got to be put away. It's a bad situation. It's a bad concept. The concept is so chilling and so horrible to think that. What we should be thinking about is the opposite of defunding, refunding, you call it. We'll refund, but we want to help the police. They have a very dangerous job. And lately I see if somebody, I was with a great family a few months ago, opens the door to a car and gets shot. And they have all sorts of protection for the people in the car. You can't have your gun even close to being drawn. You don't know what's happening. A lot of the windows are dark, so you don't know who's in there. But the door opens and just gets shot. Great police officer. In many, many cases, it's a dangerous business, and we have to give them protection, and we have to give them love and respect, and that's what we're going to do. We were doing it, and they're not doing it now. We'll give our law enforcement heroes the kind of protection and the resources that they so dearly deserve, and I will crack down on local Marxist DAs who refuse to enforce the law. They refuse to put murderers in jail. And you see it all over. As the district attorney of San Francisco, Kamala Harris was one of the worst and one of the first Marxist prosecutors in America. She said that, and some people said she was the godmother of both sanctuary cities, because this was a while ago. This was when it all started. And that horrible shoplifting epidemic, she shielded illegal alien crack dealers from deportation. She fought like hell to have crack dealers not deported. She came up with the concept of $950 and below. You don't even get prosecuted. $950. So guys are walking into stores with calculators to figure out, did you know that? They have calculators. They're adding it up. They want to make sure they're under $950. But it didn't matter because they didn't prosecute the ones that went over either. She ignored the pleas of victims, families, members, and refused to seek the death penalty against, as an example, an illegal alien MS-13 gang member. These are the worst gangs in the world, who murdered an innocent man and his two sons for absolutely no reason. They said, why did you do it? He said, I felt like it. I felt like it. So when Kamala, until recently, was called a Marxist prosecutor, she didn't even disclaim the title. She sort of liked it. As the California Attorney General, she redefined child sex trafficking, assault with a deadly weapon, and rape of an unconscious person as a nonviolent crime. All of them were redefined by her as nonviolent. Kamala Harris supports abolishing cash bail nationwide. Cash bail has been a disaster. When you abolish the no cash, don't worry about cash. You murdered somebody, don't worry about it. That was really the beginning of problems for New York, big problems for New York, but elsewhere also. But it means releasing violent criminals immediately after arrest. No money involved. Don't worry about it. Go home. Enjoy yourself. Many of them disappear. You never find them again. Many of them immediately start killing again. It's just a crazy situation. She supports ending jail sentences for parole violators. She considers a parole violation not to be serious. When the violent mobs of looters and anarchists tried to burn down Minneapolis in 2020, Kamala Harris raised money for bail, to bail out the arsonists and the rioters and the killers. People were killed. Many people were killed. Compare that to J6. Nobody was killed. Nobody was killed. There weren't fires set. They burned down the city. They were burning down Minneapolis. And she went out, and not only did she work a little bit with them. She worked a lot with them. She worked to get them out and to set them free. One of the criminals Kamala helped bail out of jail was Sean Michael Tillman, one of the worst, a dangerous repeat offender, had a horrible record of violence. With Kamala's help, she was set free. He was set free. He soon went on to murder a man on a train platform for no reason whatsoever in St. Paul, shooting him 6 times in the head and in the torso. No reason whatsoever. What's the reason? No reason. Just felt like it. Kamala Harris will deliver crime, chaos, destruction, and death. If she's allowed to be the President of the United States, you'll see levels of crime that you've never seen before. I will deliver law, order, safety, and peace, and I will protect those who protect us. These people protect us. These are unbelievable people. They protect us. We have to protect them. We have to give them hope because so many are leaving the forces. I can't speak for this group because I'd love to work for them. I would be joining them in 2 minutes. It looks like a nice job. They look, because they've handled themselves and crime and everything else in a stern way, and it's probably a lot easier to do. Maybe we should switch them, move them around to different territories of your state or of our nation, and let some other guys take. Would you like that, fellas? I have a feeling. You don't want that. I don't want to embarrass it. I don't want to say any particular names of locations, but I can think of a big one in this state. I'd love to have them working there during the election. I can tell you, but they have it. They have it all very much under control, and that's the way it should be. So we're going to make a record investment in hiring, retention, and training of police officers. We're losing tremendous numbers of police officers. These are men and women that want to be police officers, and they're just leaving. We're going to get you reinforcements, and we're not going to be doing the negative, like let's pay them much less, or let's defund entirely. Let's pay them. There's a movement on now. We won't defund, but we'll pay them much less money. No. It's. I've never realized how dangerous a job it was. I have some papers here.